still know we are living by love.
You may be seated. As much as it's hard for me to grasp, here we are the first Sunday of February, and I love that today is 02/02/2020. I just love those things. It's also Groundhog Day, and Groundhog Day is an indication we're going to have weather or not. And then today is Super Bowl Sunday. So whatever you're planning or however you're going to do this day, right now, we're going to step into and acknowledge a season of peace. Now, one thing that we can say right off the bat is a season of peace already is. We already have peace. A season of peace has us look beyond what is to where's our unrest? Where's our unpeacefulness? Where's the chaos? Where's the violence that's happening around us? And if we're going to choose a season of peace, it's ours to claim it, use it, and be it. And so I start with the wisdom of Martha Smock. I turned to her often. She was the head of Daily Word for many years. If there is even one person with whom you're not at peace, then you have a work to do. And the work begins with you, in your thoughts and feelings, in your reactions. Now we're going to have our season of peace. We're going to be at peace if we have no niggles, no judgment, no criticism, no complaints, no shaming, no gossip, no challenge of any other person. Because no one has anything to do with our peace. A lot of stuff's happening, but it doesn't have anything to do with our peace. Now this story, I went and got my haircut, and my haircutter is Katie. And I was telling her about what I was going to be talking about. She said, I went to my health and beauty supply. Now, I spent thousands of dollars at this health and beauty supply. And I walk in, the receptionist was a pill. Now, she did not use that word. It's a family show. Okay, so instantly she turned around, she walked back to her car, she breathed, she centered, because she didn't want to say what she was ready to say. She went back into the door, and with that countenance, with that calm, with that peace, she got what she needed, and then she got back in her car and went back to work. As soon as she got to work, she made sure to tell all of her friends at work, "You wouldn't believe what happened to me today. She was just blah, 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 blah." Her first choice of finding her center and not speaking out her complaint, her criticism, her shame, was a good choice. But when she stepped aside and then had to just vent it to guess what happened to me, that gossip, that criticism, that shaming is a violent action. And we want to be peaceful people. We don't want to be violent, I would assume. Let's put it in the personal. I don't want to be violent. I want to be peaceful. Now, Martha continues to say, peace of mind is not something you achieve when everything is perfect, when things have worked out happily. Peace of mind is something that oftentimes precedes the solving of the problem. When we're at peace, we're at peace. Need do nothing. It already is. But our peace of mind in this season of peace is recognizing, there's something that needs to be addressed here. There's something that's out of balance. There's something that's not working right. And that's where our peace of mind comes. That can be back at that moment when Katie went back to her car. She breathed and she centered and she found her core strength of being. And she walked in, she had no trouble just taking care of her business. That's the peace of mind that allows us and equips us to deal with whatever life handles us. Because we are going to experience upset people, messes, accidents, diagnoses, all kinds of stuff that stirs our emotions. But then how are we going to stay them? How are we going to react to them? I'm stepping into choosing peace first. The minister, Marion R. Brown, has this wisdom. Non-resistance is the path to freedom. Resistance keeps us in bondage. I love this because we know by seeing the movies and reading the books and the articles about the great work of Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa or Jesus. All have shown that when there's non-resistance, when we step into the flow, present to what is, without putting up any challenge, any complaint, any judgment, any criticism, we have an opportunity for freedom. But anytime we choose resistance, because I know I'm right, and I want you to know I'm right, I'm stuck in bondage. I'm not free. I'm not allowing myself the opportunity to be one with the Christ presence. The Christ presence isn't a complaining, whiny presence. That's a different place in our being. But we always have that peace within us. Katrina Meyer, writer, she says, go 24 hours without complaining, not even once. Then watch how your life starts changing. Can you imagine? I know for myself, those thoughts come up a lot. But what we're addressing here is not the thoughts, it's when we say it. When we say the little barb, or I don't gossip, but news is news. And share the news, if you know what I mean. Imagine a day of no complaining, no speaking judgment, no saying criticism, no shaming, no guilting. Free. Can you see how that non-resistance to what is has us have an opportunity where we actually feel, wow, alive and calm and serene. We might even feel love. Pretty powerful choice. Unity minister Stella Terrell Mann, there is no peace for the one who does not accept the gift of life itself and do his best with it. He will always whimper and whine and go about accusing others for his failure. I've lived as a victim, and as long as I lived as a victim, you were the perpetrator. Wasn't my fault. It's all your fault. Whether that's your parents or your brother or your best friend or your husband or your wife or your kids. When we know that our life is a gift, when we embrace that God's presence and that Christ's conscience is there to guide us in each and every way, we can live a life beyond victimhood, which is just bondage. And we can stay in bondage as long as we want. And there's nothing anyone else can do that's going to liberate you except your own choosing. Choosing to not complain, to speak out loud, shaming, blaming, guilt, whining, complaining. Oh. It's a choice. Eckhart Tolle, when you complain, you make yourself a victim. Just talked about that. Leave the situation, change the situation, or accept it. All else is madness. So the sane path is non-resistance. The sane path is choosing peace. Now, does that mean we're not going to ever get angry again? No. Does that mean we're never going to be hurt again or feel sad or grief? No. But it does change how we speak about it. Speaking honest feeling, I'm feeling angry, is not complaining. It's speaking truth. But if I say, you made me angry again, not quite finding our peace. It's madness. And I do it on a regular basis. I'm human. It's a practice of being. What's I know to be true is our culture has made it the center point of whenever we get together with others at a coffee shop or standing in line or sitting waiting for the movie to start. It's, these movie trailers are so awful, or the service is bad, or it's too cold, or, do you know my back is hurting? And it's acceptable for us to talk about how bad the weather is, or how bad our team did, or how we find a comfortable place of complaining a bit to feel like we've connected. But have we really connected? All we've done is vented a little bit. And does that venting really give us strength and wholeness? Not so much. There is a different way. Maya Angelou, the great author, actress, and poet, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude and don't complain. Some things, we see a problem, we can do something about it, especially if we created it ourselves. Sometimes we create problems we can't solve. We don't know what the solution is, but we can place it exactly where it can be, in God. And if it's ours to do, it's ours to do. If it's not, can't control it. And this is a real healthy way. Acknowledge that if we don't like something, we can either change it or accept it. And then don't tell everyone about how bad it is, because that's complaining. Will Bowen has been on Oprah, has been on 60 Minutes, on USA Today, Sunday Morning. He's been all over the map. He has touched 11 million people with his organization of a complaintfreeworld.org. He says, you can best get what you desire by expressing what you want rather than a complaining about the way things are. We know that what we say and what we believe creates our experience. So if we say and believe what we want, we get more of that. But if we complain about it and always focus on what's wrong, what do we get? More opportunities to observe what's wrong, what's not working in our lives. Will continues on to say, complaining should happen infrequently. Criticism and gossip, never. Most complaining we do is just ear pollution, detrimental to our happiness and well-being, let alone it affects others, like the pill at the health and beauty supply. Didn't exactly create peace around her experience. And we can choose right now, in this season of peace, to adopt a practice of not complaining, not saying out loud any criticism, judgment, shame, or guilt. Does that sound good? It's a worthy practice. Now, what I'm doing is I'm adopting Will Bowen's philosophy, a 21 complaint-free practice. Now, research suggests that anything that we practice for 21 days creates a new habit. The key is, with one of these purple bracelets, which you put on a wrist, and it stays there unless you complain. Now, this is speaking out loud, not the thoughts that are speaking. If we speak a whine, a complaint, and I'm not talking about a rosé. I'm talking about, but I wanted to be warmer outside. That's a whine. Judgment, criticism, anything that what you say has you kind of point your finger, even if you don't actually point your finger, then you switch the band to the other wrist. Now, you don't have to snap it or it's not like beat and flagellate yourself. And then so if you've been on day 4 of no complaining and you complain, you switch it over to the other wrist and you're back at day 1. There's no shame in day 1. Say that with me. There's no shame in day 1. 2 more times. There's no shame in day 1. There's no shame in day 1. This is a practice. It's changing the behavior we've done our whole lives. And what's true is it's really easy to see this in others. Will Bowen says it's kind of like bad breath. You can tell it in others, but you have no idea if you have it yourself. Well, this practice, and I've done this before, this practice, you'll be aware of where you complain. It's that automatic stuff that just comes right out and is on the tip of your tongue. And you don't have to move your wristband if you don't say it. You can think it, but don't say it. 21 days where it remains on one wrist, and you've adopted a new habit, and you've stepped into being a peaceful person. And can you right now imagine what your life would be different if you adopted a practice that you never complained about anything? You never shamed, you never criticized, you never judged another. You accepted everyone in the kingdom of God. and then practice, practice, practice. Sounds good? Beautiful. So let's take this moment and go into meditation. We can set anything that might be in our hands, get comfortable, and settle into this place as the Unity Singers help us in song.
Be still, go deep. What you sow is what you reap. Be here now, where one is known, where life's fountain always flows. Be still, be still, be still, and know. Be still, be still, be still. Go deep, what you sow is what you reap. Be here now, where one is known, where life's fountain always flows. Be still, be still, be still, and know. Be still, be still, be still.
Right here, right now, we rest. There's nothing we need to do. We set aside all that has come before this moment, and we set down all that is yet to be. We open our center and we be still, breathing, allowing, opening our heart to the season of peace that is here right now. Let's rest and take a moment listening to divine grace now in the silence. With blessing, we say yes and thank you to our Christ consciousness that continues to breathe us, to heal us, to renew us, all in divine order. And so with this, let's bring what we've received in this meditation to be what we express as we go on in this day, knowing that all is good, because all is in God. And as we bring our attention back into the room, we wiggle our toes or wiggle our fingers, roll our head or roll our shoulders, and we come into opening our eyes, and then we'll say our affirmation that goes with today's talk together. With a loving heart, I practice non-resistance for a complaint-free world. And so it is. What a blessing that is. And we've now adopted this practice of saying the Lord's Prayer from a direct translation from Aramaic to English together. Father, Mother, birther, and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. For age to age, from you comes the glorious harmony of life. May these words be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.